Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. Today I'm attempting to find the best Puff HTV out there and show you how to use it. So I am comparing 9 different brands of Puff HTV. So this is one of my test shirts here. So I'm going to show you what I did to apply those. I'm going to do some laundry tests. I am going to determine the best option that I believe is out there out of the 9 that I tested. And then I'm going to try those on a regular heat press, the Cricut Auto Press, and an EasyPress, and tell you what is the best method for application. Now, the goal is to get a really cool puffed up shirt with the maximum puff possible. So how do you do that? Let's take a look. I have 9 different Puff HTV brands that I'm going to be trying. Caesar, Walakut Puff, 3D Super Puff. This is from a place called Vinyl and Tool. CAD Cut Puff from Stalls, EV Puff from Expressions Vinyl, Craft Pro Puff from Heat Press Nation, Puff HTV from Sparkleberry, HTV Rock Puff, and then this one is Go To Craft. These last 2 were just from Amazon, the others from a variety of websites. And I will link to where I purchased each and every one of these in the description below this video. So if you want to check out any of them and pick your favorites for yourself, you can check out the links there. Later on in this video, I will list the pressing instructions that I used for each of these. The cutting is very similar for all of them, so I'm just going to cut one on the video to show you what that process looks like. Generally, when you cut HTV, you put the shiny side down on the mat and cut the design mirrored. Puff is a little bit different, and let me show you why. I'm just going to peel up a small corner here from the side. And as you can see, the shiny side is actually the back. The matte side, in almost all cases, is the front or would go down on the mat. So what I would do when you purchase any brand of Puff HTV is I would do it just as I have done. Peel it up from the corner, just a little bit. You want the carrier side sheet or this clear sheet down on the mat and the side that's peeling up here to be what you cut. You do still mirror your design. So for this Caesar HTV, for instance, I just need a small piece. I'm just gonna cut a couple of hearts. So the shiny side would go up, matte side would go down. Also, some of these I find don't stick to the mat well. So I would use a brayer, push it down well, and if your blue mat is not working for you, change to the green mat with this HTV. Some of them just don't stick down well, and if you can see, it's kind of lifting on the corners. So I'm going to change to a green mat. While normally I would use a blue mat for HTV, I might swap to a green in the case of the Puff because it just doesn't seem to stick as well to the mat. And now that I have it on a green mat, it's down really well. So you might want to take that into consideration of what type of mat you have before you get started on your project. Now you have your design in Cricut Design Space and you go ahead and click Make. As of the filming of this video, Puff HTV is only in the format where you would need to cut it on the mat, so go ahead and pick on the mat. And then be sure on this next screen to mirror each of your mats. So you want the design to be mirrored. And then when cutting, the everyday iron-on setting works well for most Puff HTV, but you might want to do a test cut on the brand that you're cutting just to make sure that it's going to cut correctly. If everyday iron-on does not work, try a thicker HTV setting. Something like holographic iron-on or glitter iron-on might work better. So now we're ready to cut. We'll just go ahead and add the mat to the machine and then press go to cut. Once the cut's complete, go ahead and unload your material. Then after cutting, you will need to weed your material. So you want to weed away all the excess, including the centers of letters. Now this is the Caesar version, and I cut it on the everyday iron-on setting, and as you can see, the cuts are perfect. So that setting really does work for most brands of Puff HTV. It's really not any thicker than regular HTV at this stage. So when you get it, it won't be puffed. It actually puffs when it's heated. So you just want to completely weed everything, and I'm going to continue and repeat these steps for the rest of the brands. The steps are similar for each of those. Here are all of the brands cut. All of the brands worked with the everyday iron-on setting. I will say, however, that I checked each and every one of them for which was the front and the back because it got very confusing. Some were like shiny side down, some were shiny side up. So always check with the method I just showed you on which side you should cut. So this is the Caesar, Walakut, this 3D Super Puff from Vinyl and Tool, Cut from Stalls, EV Puff from Expressions, Craft Pro Puff from EasyPress Nation, Sparkleberry, the HTV Ront, and the Go to Craft. So now I'm going to press these on shirts. Use the same method for pressing for most of these. So we're going to preheat our shirt, and I am using a cotton shirt here. Some of these say that they work better on cotton, so I wanted to try all of them on cotton to see how they would work. I am using a regular heat press because all of them call for medium to firm pressure. Once I get my favorite or a couple of favorites, I may try those with the EasyPress to see what happens. So we're preheating the shirt to remove moisture and wrinkles, then add the Puff HTV. And then go ahead and press. The carrier sheet protects everything. If you need to do a second press, you might need something like parchment paper or butcher paper. But for this first press, you can just use that carrier sheet and go ahead and press. Press for the full time at the full temperature. Now the time and temperature varies on these, and I am going to have that on the screen for each of the brands, the time and the temperature that I used. You can go ahead and pause the video to see each of those times and temperatures. Now this could vary slightly depending on the color of Puff HTV you purchase, so be sure to check the instructions wherever you purchase your HTV. Some of them had different instructions for different colors. Once the press is done, lift your heat press, and the carrier sheet basically sort of removes itself. The HTV puffs up so much in most cases that the carrier sheet is just kind of hanging on, so you can just peel it away hot. Now, if the HTV did not stick, or you did not get the puff you were looking for, you can add something like parchment paper or butcher paper to the top and press one more time. I've had mixed results with that method, but it's worth a try if you've already ruined a shirt. Now I'm going to continue on and press each one of these and we'll compare. Let's take a closer look at the results we were able to get. So what I'm looking for is something that puffs up, and this is the Caesar for example. Something that puffs up well and it's smooth to the touch after it puffs up. So there aren't any lines in the puff itself. So I want maximum puff and a smooth feeling. The Caesar gave that to me. So I really love the way it puffs up. It looks really, really good on the surface. This is the EV Puff from Expressions. Again, it did really good. We are going to compare all these after a couple of laundry cycles. So we will wait for that for like a final, like what is my favorite type of thing. This is the Walakut Puff. So this was very inconsistent. Sometimes it did well and other times I got a rough texture. So I'm calling this one as an inconsistency. Then the CP is the Craft Pro Puff from EasyPress Nation, and it was a little rough to the touch. I did not like the way it felt on the shirt. Then next up is the SP, which is the Super Puff from Vinyl and Tool. Again, it was just very rough to the touch. It puffed up great, but the roughness I did not like. The SB is Sparkleberry. This one did very good, puffed up nice, and it is very smooth. The C is Cut from Stalls. It did puff up nicely and it is smooth. And then these final two are the Amazon ones, HTV Ront and Go to Craft. Both of these did not puff up well and they were rough, so both flat and rough. So these two were definitely out for me. So now on top, I have the shirt that hasn't been through any laundry cycles. This bottom one I ran through just a couple of laundry cycles. I just wanted to make sure it was going to look the same after it was laundered, and then that, you know, it didn't crack or anything. And I did do this cold water and inside out, no dry, so hang to dry. And I did wait 24 hours before I washed this at all. The Caesar did great. It looks basically the same after the laundry cycles. The Expressions, I got just a little crack on the side, and this was just after a couple of laundry cycles, so I eliminated that one from my list. The Walakut and the Craft Pro, I did not like those, you know, the pressing part of them. They both laundered fine, but I did not like this one was inconsistent, this one was rough. The Super Puff and the Sparkleberry. So the Super Puff was rough, so I eliminated that one automatically. The Sparkleberry did well on the test through the laundry cycle as well. So it still looks really good and I liked it. Didn't see any real visible cracking. And then finally, I already eliminated these two from Amazon, but this Cut here, it did good through the laundry cycle, except I'm already getting some cracking on the little cut here. So I eliminated it as well. So my two favorites are the Caesar and the Sparkleberry. I'm going to go with Caesar as my ultimate favorite, just because it is readily available. It's in a ton of colors, including they have metallics now, and so anyone can find it and purchase it. So I'm gonna go with the Caesar Easy Puff as my favorite Puff HTV. So now that we've done this was tested on a regular heat press. You saw me press these. So I'm gonna try a comparison. Regular heat press versus auto press versus easy press. What will the Caesar do? Let's take a look. So we're gonna try to press the Caesar Puff with the easy press. One thing I will say is that a firmer mat is going to be better for you. So I would not use the Cricut Easy Press mat. This is a firm, heat-resistant mat from Artistry. Then I'm going to put down my shirt. Then you need to preheat the shirt. Another trick is to use an easy press that is bigger than your design. So I do have my large easy press because I do have a large design for this one. Preheating this on the mat will help as well because you want to get that mat hot. Then just locate your design. So I'm pressing at 280 degrees for 10 seconds, pushing down as hard as I possibly can with the easy press for the full 10 seconds. Once that time's up, lift it up. And again, this should just peel right off of your design. Now let's take a closer look at the results with the easy press, a heat press, as well as the auto press. So I chose this design on purpose because it does have some fairly intricate cuts. Generally, Puff is not for a very intricate design, so it kind of put it to the test for that as well. The Caesar performed great on my regular heat press, just like in my tests. This puffed up great, and it is very, very smooth. I pressed it same time and temperature, and then I played with the time and temperature on my auto press. Never did get a consistent result. So on the auto press, like this part was smooth, but then this part I can start to see lines. This home, again, like part of it was smooth. Other parts were very, very rough. I tried pressing like twice. I tried a different mat in the auto press. I always got very inconsistent results. So for me, the auto press does not do puff as well as I would like. Then you saw me try the easy press, and again, same type of results. Very rough texture. Yes, it does puff up, but you will not get that smooth, super smooth texture that you would with heavy pressure and a regular heat press. So frankly, if you're going to do puff and you want the best results possible, I would definitely go with a traditional heat press where you can put very, very heavy pressure. Now you might be able to play around with basically standing on your easy press and getting even more pressure. I was pressing down very, very hard. But I will say that you would need to experiment with other types of heat presses. If you don't have a traditional heat press where you can apply heavy, heavy pressure to the stuff, you are gonna need to run some experiments to get the best results out there. You do wanna look for a very smooth texture with puff. So it should be very, very smooth. It should not have all those lines. It shouldn't have almost like a brain type texture with all these different lines in it. It should be very, very smooth if done correctly. So for me, the winner in this was the Caesar Easy Puff. So it was easy to cut, easy to weed, easy to apply as long as I used that heat press and that firm pressure, and then it ran through the laundry cycle well. Then it is very readily available and has a ton of color options. So for me, that's the winner. Now, a few questions you might ask yourself about Puff HTV. First of all, how do I use multiple colors, or can it be layered? I have not found a good method for that yet. And yes, I have kind of tried some that are out there and failed miserably. But I will keep trying, and if I find a good method, of course I will make a video on that. But for now, I'm sticking with one color designs. And as you saw, I was able to get kind of some intricate cuts, but very intricate cuts won't work great with the puff, because when it puffs up, you're gonna lose some of those small intricate pieces. So watch your design as well when using Puff HTV. Otherwise, the most tricky part is which side do you put down on the mat. So watch that with whatever brand of Puff HTV that you might use. Now you can try any of the brands that I used for yourself. I will link to all of them in the description below this video. Feel free to shop around. You saw my press test. You saw them after a few laundry cycles. You might want to try one of the other brands. Some of those worked really well in my opinion. However, I just picked the Caesar because of the factors that I talked about. Now all that's left for you to do is to grab your Cricut machine, some Puff HTV, and make a project of your very own. I hope that this video helps you decide which Puff HTV to use and helps you apply it correctly. Now remember, you're looking for that smooth, really puffed up texture to get the ultimate Puff HTV project. If you like this video and it helped you, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions, drop down in the comment section, ask away. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.